Alright. Hello there. Welcome to another one of these videos where I sit and I critique people's writings about Star Wars, because that's what I do now. This next one is, as you can see there, why Star Wars should have stopped at just one film. This was written in 2017, which is 4 years ago, obviously. But I thought I would read this one because I saw the title when I was looking for controversial Star Wars articles, and this one just caught my eye, and I really want to see the rationale, sort of reasoning behind this particular statement. And I thought I would do it, and you can tell me what you think down in the comments. So this is actually written by the BBC. Yeah, let's just see what they say. All subsequent films undermined the stunning original, which teased viewers' imaginations by not answering everything. Already disagree. All subsequent films undermined the stunning original. How is that? How is that true? That's not true at all. Alright, so yeah, Phil, read this at your own time. I'm just going to quickly try and get through it. Okay, sounds like this person's got a grudge against the extended law, which is never a good start. Right, okay, so something that this says is that the principal achievement was to enable all the films and the spin-offs. I don't think that was the case. I don't think, when he made the film, I don't even think when he made the original 3 films that the plan was to create an entire, extended universe behind it. Obviously, the universe itself had to be filled, so it wasn't just, here is a planet, and this planet is basically Earth, but it's not Earth because it's in a different universe. Everything, all the lore that's in it has to be made, otherwise it doesn't, it's not as densely packed as it can be. But as for, because that line there says, the principal achievement of A New Hope was to enable all the films and spin-offs which followed. I don't think that's true at all. I don't think, it does say it implies, but I don't think the movie works well as its own movie, as well as it does as part of the thing. It's a good movie, but it's the purpose of this movie was never to make more. It was to make its own movie, to tell a story. What came after it wasn't just because this movie was made. And yeah, I don't believe that we would be in a better state today had Star Wars only been one movie. Paradox. One of the cleverest aspects of A New Hope is that it always seemed to be a part of a series when it was released. It wasn't labelled Episode 4, it was within any one reissue, but it did give the impression that the story was. Yeah, read this at your own time. Sorry, I'm just kind of spacious striving in base. I've won the first week to get the evil guy, and from then on, the film maintains a mischievous illusion that. Right, okay, so I agree with almost everything that it says here. If you want to take it for just face value, yeah, it does. It introduces all this stuff, but I think this A New Hope is made better by both the movies that followed and the movies that came after. Came before. Sorry, in that sort of chronological time. It says, yeah, it introduces us to Obi-Wan, who served Princess Leia's father, but imagine if it had just ended with the one movie, right? It ended with Obi-Wan's death. We would never ever have the incredible story that comes from Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan is, he's one of the central characters. To to an ancient religion. Yeah, okay, fair enough. The actual, so this is a picture obviously of the Battle of the Geonosis. The actual circumstances of the combat were not revealed until blah, 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 and the conflict was very different than fans had imagined. I'll be honest, I didn't look into the phrase the Clone Wars all that much. I don't know if I mean, you know, I wasn't born when the originals came out, so I can't really comment. But, you know, it's one of those lines that's thrown away. It's one of those throwaway lines where it's just kind of like, oh yeah, I fought with them during the Clone War. Were people going, oh, the Clone Wars? This is how I imagined the Clone Wars. I don't imagine that they were. And I think the inclusion of Attack of the Clones, although some people say it's the worst of the Star Wars movies, I think the inclusion only made A New Hope better. They also added up to a sophisticated postmodern joke, much like the spoof trailers incorporated in a Great Double Bill. There's in cases which I mentioned but not described in other going down Sherlock Holmes books. We know that the texts being cited aren't real, but it's intoxicating to imagine that they were. Right. I don't get what he's getting at there. So he's saying it's intoxicating to imagine parts of the world that haven't been shown. That's fair enough. Completely fair enough. I guess. I think that if that's the point he's trying to make, then I guess I agree. For that reason, New Hope would be a lot more intriguing today if every other episode had been left to our imaginations. To playground games, to pub discussions, to self-published fan fiction. Instead, the episodes which did come along answered the questions, solved its mysteries, filled in its blanks, and narrowed its mythical scope to one dysfunctional family. Oh, okay. Right, completely disagree with everything in this paragraph. So it says that A New Hope, first of all, it says A New Hope would be a lot more intriguing today if every other episode had been left to our imaginations. Don't think it would have been, quite frankly. You know, I could sit there and say, well, okay, the Clone Wars was Obi-Wan and a few of his friends fighting a bunch of green monsters, you know, who looked like Mike Wazowski and ran around wielding curved scythes made out of penises. It's like, okay, that's my imagination. Is that better than what we got? I mean, you know, fair enough. We got, like it says here, we got Jar Jar Binks in the Ewoks. Alright, fair enough. But you can't blame every Star Wars movie being bad and impacting A New Hope on Jar Jar Binks in the Ewoks. There's poor things in every single movie. Greedo's completely pointless. Shows how great Han Solo is, but the entire movie shows how great Han Solo is. So, you know, every single Star Wars movie has something in it that isn't very good. The only one, arguably, that doesn't is Empire Strikes Back. But even then, everything between, you know, Empire Strikes Back is where the reputation for the Stormtroopers being terrible shots comes from. So, the whole idea of that is completely ridiculous. Referring to Anakin in the prequels as a grumpy brat, that is really ridiculous because, okay, fair enough, in the second one he's not the best, but I think Darth Vader becomes increasingly more scary with Hayden Christensen's performance in The Revenge of the Sith. Call me crazy, but I think he completely added like an entire new depth to Darth Vader that wasn't there. Sorry, I should have my phone on mute. The fact of the matter is, you will never ever convince me that the prequels didn't add to the originals. People who say that they ruined them, I don't think they can appreciate the greatness of the prequels. Okay, so first thing that I will say, right, is that my opinion of the sequels has been well documented in my videos in the past. I'm not the biggest fan of them. So as much as I get where he's coming from with this, that, you know, we find out that Leia and Han had a genocidal, patricidal maniac for a son. He's not pulling any punches. You know, it's this universe where things like that are just commonplace. For goodness sake, I mean, who cares? I don't care that his son was that. I thought it added something to it. There's a lot more to his story. Well, there was a lot more to his story than just being genocidal and patricidal. It's just cutting out loads of key points of his character. A few years later, when it really was one chapter in ongoing epic, the magic faded. Don't believe that at all. If you listen to people, No, they went and watched the first one, A New Hope, and A New Hope didn't. It set the precedent for most sci-fi movies when they came out afterwards. But when it first came out, it wasn't massive. It wasn't like, if a Star Wars movie came out now where it would be a massive deal. It was the one that came after that Star Wars became the massive deal. Do you know what I mean? It was like everyone was desperate to see it, and yeah, that was because of A New Hope. But you can't then say that A New Hope's bad, and especially not Empire, which is the best Star Wars movie. A true original, I can say from experience that this argument doesn't go down well with some Star Wars fans. The main objection being that A New Hope isn't the best film in the canon. The Empire Strikes Back, they point out, has come to be accepted as the franchise peak. I just said that. .8 on IMDb, I didn't know it was that low. All right, so there's a point in there that I don't understand what point they're trying to make. As technically superior as it might be, though, the fact remains that Empire does what we expect a Star Wars film to do, whereas A New Hope did what nobody expected. That is complete bullshit. Sorry, but that's a line that's I can't even explain what's going through my mind. So the only reason we have expectations of Star Wars, right, is because we've had 11 films now, and the series and the book. We expect something from the movies. It's like, yes, you could say, well, A New Hope broke everything down, and everything that happened in it was not what people expected. But you can't tell me that people went into Empire Strikes Back and expected Darth Vader to be Luke Skywalker's dad. You can't tell me that people were expecting the main good guy to get his backside handed to him. It's mind-boggling that this person says A New Hope did what nobody expected. So did Empire Strikes Back. So did Return of the Jedi. It's like, yes, there are key things in Star Wars movies that Star Wars fans expect, but that's come from 9 movies, which is the Skywalker saga. That's come from 9 movies. You can't tell me that after one movie, people were going into Empire Strikes Back and going, this is what I expect. Darth Vader better cut off Luke Skywalker's arm. He better tell him that he's got daddy issues because his daddy's the Dark Lord of the Sith. People didn't expect that, and that is a ridiculous sentence for this person to make. And I'm sorry, because they're probably a very lovely person, but ridiculous. Besides, Empire is obviously an intermediate episode with no resolution of its own. The genius of A New Hope is that it pretends to be one installment and it's probably saga, and it is the only Star Wars not to have a complete satisfying plot. It is the only one. What? Any sequel is always going to be redundant as a sequel to Cinderella or Casablanca. First of all, Cinderella has a great sequel, so shut up. Let's say the Empire assists. Empire assists. What about? Never mind about that. Say the Empire. Did he just call me an Empire assist? What about all the classic characters who were in the 1980 follow-up? What about Lando Calrissian and Yoda and Boba Fett? To which I'd have to reply, what about them? If I want to say Millennium Falcon piloting smuggler who finds his conscience in time to join the rebels, I don't need land. My word. If I want to say a white-haired hermit who turns out to be a Jedi Master, Obi-Wan Kenobi's doing that. That's for Boba Fett, a caped helmeted armored villain, any resemblance to Right, okay. Right, first of all, right, the genius is that it pretends to be one installment in a sprawling saga. No, it doesn't. Yes, there's a resolution at the end, but the plan was always to have a sequel. You can't tell me that one of the primary bad guy in A New Hope floating off into the ether is a satisfying end. Stop being completely ridiculous. And yet, it is the only Star Wars film to have a complete and satisfying plot? What? Even Attack of the Clones, which people will say is the worst Star Wars, has a satisfying plot. The ending is brilliant. Right, so you will never ever convince me, because I'm a diehard Star Wars fan, you will never convince me that apart from The Rise of Skywalker and The Last Jedi, that there is any Star Wars film that has a bad plot. The Force Awakens arguably also has a bad plot because it's just A New Hope redone. But the prequels and the originals all have brilliant plots, and each individual movie is made better by the fact that it's one long plot. And A New Hope works better because it's part of that we see, not that we like. I couldn't even comprehend imagining the entirety of the prequels and the originals. I don't think anyone could have before they came out. As for this bit's absolutely ridiculous. First of all, we're not Empire assists. You know, I'm pretty sure if you ask more Star Wars fans will say Empire Strikes Back is the best Star Wars movie. Right, so disrespecting Lando Calrissian's character by saying that he's nothing more than a jumped up version of Han is completely ridiculous. Lando's a great character away from all the things that he has in common with Han Solo. Referring to Yoda as just a jumped up Obi-Wan is completely ridiculous. That is completely ridiculous. And I'm pretty sure this is me I'm trying not to be a toxic fanboy here. I'm really trying my best because I've been the victim of toxic fanboys, trust me. But you can't even remotely compare them. Yes, they're both Jedi, fair enough, but Yoda's nothing like Obi-Wan. As for Boba Fett, right, okay, so Boba Fett's a good one. Mainly because he's not a very good character in the originals. He's become a good character because of The Mandalorian, but he wasn't very good in these. And yes, you tell me that Vader was initially, conceived as a bounty hunter, blah, 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 blah. But, right, okay, so you can say that there's 1,000 characters in Star Wars that were initially conceived as being this character. Just because Vader was initially conceived as being a bounty hunter doesn't mean he's got anything similar to Boba Fett. He's got nothing similar to Boba Fett other than they've got a slight dome to the helmet. That's just completely ridiculous. What a ridiculous 2 paragraphs they were. What's this person's name? I'm going to start naming them now. Nicholas Barber. You damn flipping idiot. Repeating the recipe. It's remarkable how quickly he began plagiarising himself. Did you ever hear the tragedy of Darth plagiarising himself? I want to be more generous, how quickly he began playing variations on themes he introduced in the New Hope. The very first it was already bringing these variations. My brain's hurting again. My brain's already hurting. But it's hardly the only offender last year's Rogue One specific. It just compared Saw Gerrera to Yoda. It just compared Cassian Andor to Han Solo. Alright, so I said these 2 paragraphs were ridiculous. This paragraph is the most ridiculous. He's really trying to make me rage here. So the very first sequel was already ringing with these variations. People who think that The Empire Strikes Back is anywhere similar to A New Hope are completely ridiculous. I can't even explain it. Empire's like... It's nothing like a new... First of all, there's no Death Star. Second of all, Darth Vader plays a much more prominent role. Third of all, the Jedi and the Sith are both equally explored even more. Luke's journey to becoming a Jedi is explained even more. Every character has development that they didn't have in A New Hope. Everything looks better. We have a cool planet that we go to. We have more than one cool planet that we go to. We have at least 2 cool planets that we go and see. Shut up, Nicholas. 3 have climaxed with a rebel squadron blowing up a Death Star. Yes, okay, fair enough. I'm very adamant that not every Star Wars movie needed a Death Star. I agree with that. Force Awakens, completely agree, as I've already said. It's just A New Hope rehashed. But they're insulting Rogue One, which is one of my favourite Star Wars movies, by the way. So it has a reluctant hero, Jyn Erso. Okay, there's a lot more to her character than Luke. Luke isn't reluctant once his aunt and uncle die. So that's silly. Another cave-dwelling mentor? Who are they? Are they comparing Saw Gerrera to Obi-Wan or to Yoda? If so, even both, that's complete. He's an extremist and a terrorist. Yes, he's a freedom fighter, but he's a terrorist and an extremist. Yoda and Obi-Wan aren't extremists. Another pessimistic robot. He's gonna disrespect my boy K2SO like that. That's completely ridiculous. And I'm sorry, but of all the Rogue One characters, Cassian Andor might be the most boring, which is why they're making the series to try and make him seem less boring. God, I've been ranting for 20 minutes. Bloody hell. But he's nothing like Han Solo. That's completely ridiculous. Fair enough, you've drawn that comparison. Yes, they both sneak around in Imperial uniforms. Fair enough, don't care. In its most celebrated sequences, it's Darth Vader showcasing Coda, a detailed, unabashed homage to A New Hope. If you're telling me, right, oh my god, if you're telling me that Rogue One scene with Darth Vader is just a homage to A New Hope, then you are completely clueless. And I'm really trying my best not to be a toxic fanboy, because literally, if you listen to people talk about, right, sorry, let me try again. If you make new people who've never watched Star Wars watch A New Hope, they would say, well, why is everyone so scared of Darth Vader? He's not all that great. Yeah, he beat Obi-Wan, but they just kind of bash lightsabers against each other for a little bit. When you show them Rogue One, you see why everyone's scared of him. And that's, by the way, that's a homage to Empire, not to A New Hope, because Darth Vader is by far scarier in Empire than he is in A New Hope. In A New Hope, literally, he doesn't do much with the lights. In Rogue One and Empire, Darth Vader is scary, and that's exactly how it should be. That's not a homage to A New Hope. Just because the character's in it doesn't mean that it's a homage to A New Hope. Completely ridiculous. And by the way, it doesn't plagiarise himself at all. Completely ridiculous. Shouldn't we be asking for more of our sci-fi blockbusters? Star Wars fans, myself included, are pathetically grateful when a director changes anything. Black armor instead of white armor, spherical body droid instead of a cylindrical one. But A New Hope changed everything. I'm not even going to justify. It's worth remembering too that Lucas wouldn't have made his paradigm-shifting film in the first place if he had secured the rights to Flash Gordon. Similarly, he and Steven Spielberg wouldn't have been... Right, okay, so that's... What the hell does that have to do with anything? Right, okay, so I agree that J.J. Abrams completely plagiarised him. Every character is exactly the same as his. Rian Johnson at least did his best to create original characters. Obviously, they all turned out to be crap, but they weren't very good. Gareth Edwards, for, say what you want about him, Rogue One had some really cool characters in it. Saw Gerrera was done really well. Jyn Erso was quite good. Her father, Galen Erso, was quite good. Is it Director Krennic? Yeah, Director Krennic's really good character. K2SO is a really good character. No. And also, all this bit is completely ridiculous as well. He wouldn't have made it if he'd secured the rights to Flash Gordon. Fair enough. Similarly, he and Steven Spielberg wouldn't have made Raiders of the Lost Ark if Spielberg had been hired to direct a Bond movie. What part of that sentence matters to Star Wars? We're talking about Star Wars, and he brings up James Bond and Indiana Jones. It's got nothing to do with Star Wars. This point is supposed to argue against sequels. What it doesn't. It just says, oh yeah, he and Spielberg wouldn't have made Raiders of the Lost Ark if Spielberg had been hired to direct a Bond movie. Alright then, well, Star Wars maybe never would have been made if George Lucas had been hired to bloody direct A.T. That's a saying, if something had happened, then this wouldn't have happened, isn't an argument. That's just ridiculous. Anyway, that's the end of this, right? And I'm sick of this now because it's stupid. What a ridiculous argument that was. Oh look, Darth Plagueis. That's a brilliant book. Anyone who likes reading Star Wars books, that's a brilliant book. So that was Nicholas Barber's attempt at trying to convince us that Star Wars should have only been one movie. Thank you, BBC, because you never balls anything up. Do you think Star Wars should have been just one film? Do you think this Nicholas Barber makes any sense at all? I honestly don't. I can't imagine what he was trying to do with this other than trigger people like me. No, I don't believe that Star Wars should have stopped at one film. I think the movie industry is better because there has been a Star Wars franchise. Not including the sequels, but the animated shows, the standalone movies, the entire Skywalker saga except the sequels have made the movie industry a better place. So, no, I don't agree with Nicholas Barber on this one. But let me know down in the comments what you think. Also, let me know if there's anything you would like me to cover, read, give my opinion on. Like I said, this one was from 2017, so it was a long time ago. I just thought I would read it and see what he had to say. Yeah, thanks. Hit the like the video because it helps. Subscribe, ding the little bell to be notified when we upload. I don't know why I point because I never put the bell there. But ring it to be notified when we upload. We upload every day. And yeah, thanks for watching. I need to know.